Yo, what up, everybody? Welcome to the Dubs Only podcast. We got a special thing going on, new segment. I've been telling you guys we're going to get some new people going on this show. And you know what? We got our new segment with my boy, The Monk. We're going to bring him in right now. Philly fanatic. Let's go ahead and bring him in.
Yo.
So we got The Monk here. Let me go ahead and, Monk, go ahead and just introduce yourself to the people, man.
Yo. My name's Anthony. Everyone calls me The Monk. You know, it is what it is. But hey, real quick, before we get into everything, I want to give a quick special shout out to a specific Eagles player that he goes under the radar. A lot of people don't even know who he is, but he's my favorite player who is under the radar, and he has a really big underdog story, and his name is Britton Covey. Started off on the practice squad, made his way onto the final roster, was a special teams guy all last season, and this season he's finally getting some playing time. So, you know, he had 6 catches yesterday. He only had 23 yards, but he looked good. He looked good with those 23 yards.
So, Monk, just tell us, dude, how'd you become an Eagles fan, and why do you love the Eagles so much?
So, I'm from LA, Jesse. You know where we're at. I became an Eagles fan in 2002. My brother and I grew up in the city of Eagle Rock. So it kind of just fit, and school colors were the same, Kelly green and white, so it kind of just made sense growing up. And I'll never forget my first Philadelphia Eagle game that I watched with my older brother, actually.
There, that's dope. Well, Monk, we're going to be talking about your Eagles. Monday Night Football last night, coming off a Week 1 win against the Green Bay Packers. It was an ugly win, a win at
Sloppy
that.
win for sure.
But we'll take wins as they me and you had our conversation following
Yeah.
the team. And just coming into this week, just what were your thoughts playing against Kirk Cousins, first of all?
Well, first of all, I definitely knew that we needed to get some penetration to the inside. And I really thought we were going to be able to get there. Clearly that didn't quite happen. But we, Kirk Cousins, he coming off that injury, believe it or not, he looked pretty good. His first week, he looked really stiff. This week, he looked pretty limber out there.
And just my thing with the Eagles, I'm not a big Jalen Hurts hater, but just I wanted to see.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
I wanted to see some stuff from him. We're gonna get into that later, but you kind of mentioned the defense. I kind of want to go into that with you, because going into this year, you have the premier pass rush of the NFL the past, let's say, like 3 years.
We'll say 2 years.
Last 2 years, best pass rush in the NFL. I mean, the list goes on who's there. You have Jalen Carter. You have Armstead on your team, right? No,
No. Jordan Davis. We got Milton Williams. We have Nolan Smith. We have BG. We got a plethora of guys.
So just what you saw from Week 1 and yet last night's game, just what are you thinking just about your defense coming into the season to now Week 2? Are we panicking? Is there some moves you want to see? Just what are your thoughts on it?
Okay, so I think I already know what you're kind of getting at here. As far as panicking, no, I wouldn't quite panic yet. Now we did record 1 sack. I believe it was Milton Williams in the 4th quarter who got a sack yesterday. But I mean, you're right. We need to get more, quarterback hits, more quarterback pressures in order to, keep our secondary alive. To be honest, a lot of people aren't too fond of our secondary, but I do think that our secondary can be pretty good if we're able to get some pressure to the quarterback. Force the quarterback to make some bad decisions. Kirk Cousins kind of pieced us up yesterday. He really did. And to be honest, look. Kirk Cousins, I'm not gonna knock him. He's what is he, Mr. Reliable? But the thing is that he's not a big time quarterback. He's not a showtime quarterback, and he's not a premier quarterback. But the thing is, we have no penetration to the inside. We're supposed to have these studs: Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, Bryce Huff, who came off of a really good season last season. He had 10 sacks, if I'm not mistaken. 24 quarterback hits. He had a pretty solid season last season, and you know what? Our defensive line is definitely starting off pretty slow this season, which there definitely is some concern, but I wouldn't quite say we should panic yet.
All right, all right. Hey, look at you right there breaking the whole thing down. Now, one thing about your defense going into the season was, like how you mentioned, the front four elite
Mhm.
pass at all things. But we saw a departure from last season and just from a Philly legend himself and Fletcher Cox. Just how big of a missing piece do you think Fletcher Cox is to this team going forward?
Massive. I mean, he had that veteran leadership, and you can't replace that. You can't replace veteran leadership. Not only that, from everything that I've read, videos that I've seen, from the unscripted videos on YouTube to even just watching other fellow podcasters, Fletcher Cox was a well liked person in the locker room, and you and I both know that that goes a very long way.
Yeah, man. And then now let's go to your run defense because Bijan Robinson had himself a day. Not Aaron Jones. Josh Jacobs had.
Aguilar,
Huh?
Aguilar,
No.
Aguilar.
What do you mean?
You talking about the second running back from the Falcons? Because he
No, no,
had a
no,
really
no.
good day too.
No, I'm talking about Josh Jacobs in the week one. He had a good day
Oh, okay.
on defense. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, Algier, how you mentioned him, just that run defense is not there. I mean, you're talking about lack of quarterback penetration. I'm talking about what about not being able to kind of set the edges, kind of getting the interior, not being able to just getting out blocked. The holes are being right there, and just not being able to just tackle the running back right there right at the point of attack.
So my thing is this. I feel like it's a combination of two things. It's going to be a combination of the defensive scheme we're running because we're running a lot of nickel, which means we're going to take out a linebacker and put in another corner. Maybe not as fast as a regular corner like a Slay or Quinion Mitchell, but we're putting in Avante Maddox or Isaiah Rogers. Obviously, Isaiah Rogers is not in right now; he's injured, but you get the point that I'm trying to prove. But by taking out that extra linebacker, there's an extra hole that needs to be filled that no one's filling in those run gaps. So what's happening is Bijan Robinson. I mean, he's a smart guy. He's very aware. He's able to find the hole. And you're right. We're getting out blocked. The lines moving up to the next level without a problem, and they're able to take advantage of our linebackers. The only good thing that I will say is what we had a couple flashes of good moments where I was like, okay, so we can stop the run, but we need to do it on a more consistent basis.
And then now I want to go into the last drive.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Before we go into that, let me just say something real quick. Right. Jalen Hurts did the best he could with the opportunity that he had. Did he or did he not?
We're gonna go into that. We're gonna go into that.
Okay.
We're sticking with defense right now.
Okay.
We're gonna go to offense.
Okay.
But I want to talk about that last drive for the Atlanta
The defensive last drive. Okay.
Yeah. Minute 40 left in the game. You see Kirk Cousins being able to do his thing, piecing up the defense. And just the final play where he was able to score, he had one of the premier corners in the league, Darius Slay. Big play Slay. It looked a little old right there going against the young guy in Drake London. Just what do you think? What were your thoughts just going that last drive? Do you think you guys were going to be able to go home with the win, especially being at home?
Okay, so let me answer the first part first. Darius Slay, don't get me wrong, he's getting up there in age. He sure is, and I think he knows it as well. But he he had a rough night yesterday. He was targeted 5 times and allowed 5 catches, right? So I think his age is starting to show. He needs to figure it out. He needs to figure out that veteran, those veteran tricks that you learn throughout the years of playing, right? Those little tricks that kind of give you that advantage, right? Because obviously he can't keep up with these young guys. Drake London is a really good receiver. He runs some pretty crisp routes. If you go back and rewatch the game, he's running some crisp routes. And Darius Slay, although in a straight line is pretty fast, you can see some wear and tear in those knees. He can't quite, cut like he used to, be able to keep up with the guys like he used to. But, there are veteran tricks that he can do to, give himself a chance to stay with these guys. Now, secondly, wait, what was the second part of that? The second part of that question?
Just being that the defense was getting kind of pieced up at the last drive, and just
Yeah.
how confident were you on that last drive that, hey, I think it's been a tough game all day, but I think we could finally get it done this week, because we saw that happen with the Green Bay Packers week 1.
So here's the thing. Where it all comes down to is the front four. If that front four would have gotten penetration at least twice, at least 2 times, we would be talking about a completely different story right now. We would be talking about how the Eagles won. Because the thing is that he had all day in the pocket. Kirk Cousins had all day in the pocket throughout that entire drive. I don't think he got rushed. I think maybe one time he may have gotten rushed once. But other than that, dude, like he had all day in the pocket. I mean, I heard a reporter saying earlier today, I thought it was pretty funny, that he was basically sipping tea in the pocket. He had all day, and the thing is that you can't allow that to happen. That's too much stress on your secondary. And don't get me wrong, there were some holes in the secondary, but if you can rush the quarterback, those holes become smaller. He cannot see those holes. He can't see the windows, and he's going to be forced to make a bad decision. And the thing is that we weren't getting no penetration. So because no penetration was happening, there were no mistakes. He was able to sit there calmly and pick us apart.
Well said. Well said. So now we're going to go to the offensive side of things. And the first topic we're going to go with, third and goal, what you were going to talk about, Saquon, the pass.
Okay. So in my opinion, right, and I started thinking this way with Dougie P, right, Doug Peterson. He, to me, in my eyes, I'm not saying that this is true, but in my eyes, he's the one who started the go for it on fourth. Go for it on fourth and short. Statistics say we're most likely going to get it. In my eyes, he's the one who started it, because he's the one who originally that I started watching, and he was okay with going on fourth and short. Now, with that being said, the play that was called was a great play to be called, because 9 out of 10 times, Saquon is going to fight for the extra yards and probably score on that. He's for sure getting the first down, but probably going to score. That happened to be the one that he doesn't get, because they ran that play 2 other times earlier in the game, and he got, I think on the first one was 6 yards, and the next one was 8 yards. I mean, come on, that's a great call. Now, I get what everyone's saying, that he should have ran the ball, he could have ran the clock down, things like that. Yes, but what you guys don't understand is just the play before that, what happened? He got stuffed in the backfield for a loss of 2. Not only that, if you look at that play where he drops the ball, do you know how many players were in the box? There were 9 players in the box. He was not going to go anywhere. To be honest, he was not going anywhere. And
but my argument to that would be that Atlanta just didn't have any timeouts left. He already drained them out. It would have been at least a minute left in the game rather than that whole minute 40. You know what I mean? There'd be more sense of urgency, especially because say if you guys do run it, he gets stuffed, you're kicking the field goal either way.
Yeah, I mean, the field goal wouldn't have. Well, yeah, I guess the field goal still would have put us ahead. They would have had to go for a 2-point conversion. But yeah,
no. It would have been the same score.
No. If we would have kicked the field goal,
yeah, they kicked the field goal. Jake Elliott made the field goal at the end.
Oh yes, yeah. You're right. Sorry. But what I'm trying to get at is I'm okay with it. It wasn't a bad play. It wasn't a horrible call. It just didn't work in our favor, because if it did work, we'd be talking about something completely different. You would have been like, hey, that was kind of risky. Yeah, but it worked, didn't it? So it's kind of, in a sense, in basketball terms, it's kind of live or die by the 3, right? So at this point, live or die by going for the 30 short, But I totally get it. I definitely get the, run the ball situation. But the thing is there's so many things, because also just before that, if you go back and look, I forgot the defender's name, but he's the linebacker for the Falcons. He jumped off sides, but because our offensive lineman did not point it out, the refs didn't call it. Now, I'm actually not blaming the refs on this. This is actually our offensive line's fault, because it is their job to point out when someone is offsides. So I don't know if you know this, but when an offensive lineman goes down, puts his hand down, he's not allowed to move. The second his hand comes up, the play is dead. If his hand comes up before the ball is snapped, any lineman, if his hand comes up before the ball is snapped, play is dead, and that is technically a false start on the offense unless he's pointing out an offsides on the defense. And so that should have been Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, who should have pointed that out, and we would have gotten the first down, probably would have won the game.
So you like the call at the end of the day? You would have done it. You would do it again?
100%. 100%, because Saquon's going to make that play. He just didn't make that one. 9 out of 10 times he's making that play.
All right. Now I want to shift gears and I want to go to the one who threw him the ball, Jalen Hurts.
Okay.
And that's whose jersey you're wearing. You got the Kelly Green on, supporting your boy.
Right. That's right.
Jalen, my heart hurts. But but I want to go into Jalen Hurts.
Hey, just real quick. We call him Ja. Praise Ja in the moonlight. All right. Jalen Alexander Hurts, Ja. All right. Get it right. That's just flat.
But Jalen Hurts, my thing with him is he had a decent game yesterday. I think because the way the last drive ended, it was it brought his grade down for me. But overall,
it was definitely tainted for sure. It was definitely tainted because of that. Yeah.
Going into this season, especially the way that last season ended, and me and you have had this conversation multiple times, whether you guys started 10-1 last season and then you guys really roller coastered downhill since then.
It was more than a roller coaster. It was a drop off.
Yeah, and going into this season, there was questions of Jalen Hurts, kind of like, how is he as a quarterback? How can he throw the ball? Is he a true quarterback? Is it just the weapons or is it actually him? And we know in the Super Bowl he had a great performance. Had a fumble, but it is what it is. He got them there. He was the reason why they had a chance, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And
look,
but going into this season, there's expectations on Jalen Hurts, especially that the way last season ended, he just got paid that huge contract for like a couple of days, highest paid in the NFL. And there's the expectation of him, especially with everyone that he has around him, and now like that their Super Bowl window. So going into the season, like I've been saying, you have that expectation, but kind of rough start to the year with the interceptions continuing. Just what do you think of that? Just what are your thoughts on Jalen Hurts? I know you got the jersey. I know you're love and faithful to him, but just is there like love hate?
My
I love hate, but more like bad taste with him.
No, okay. So my unbiased opinion is, I think that this is a whole new thing for him as far as, so last season we had a very vanilla offense, right? We just were like, let's throw the ball up to AJ Brown, let's throw the ball up to Devontae Smith. He knows that they're down there. Let's just see what happens. And you know what? Our offense was not very well ran last season. This season we have a pretty solid offensive coordinator, which the Chargers had him for a little while. So did the Cowboys. And those are two very good teams whose offenses could have been explosive. But to be honest, look, is it a small concern? Something that I think about? Like, I was definitely thinking about it yesterday when I was watching the game. Like, so the pick he threw yesterday, you can't erase it. I know it's part of his stats, but the thing is at the end of the game, they knew it was a pass. Everyone knew that there was a chance that it was probably going to be intercepted. But throughout the first, 3.5 quarters, he played a really good game, a very good game. He not only used his legs, he was accurate on his passes for the most part. He was, going very West Coast offense, short pass, dink and dunks, threw a couple of deep balls here and there. But, I don't think it's really a concern. The only thing that I will say is it does linger in the back of your mind for sure. I mean, I not only as a Philadelphia Eagle fan, but as a Jalen Hurts fan, like, it does linger in the back of your mind. It does, I do think about it, you know what I'm saying? But I don't think it's a problem yet. I think it can balloon into a problem, but I don't think it's a problem as of right now.
And for Hurts, we mentioned all the weapons he has at his disposal. One of them wasn't there yesterday, and it's a big one.
Yeah.
Do you think even though that AJ Brown didn't play, they still should have got the job done?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. Because the thing is look, we have Dallas Goedert. He was only targeted twice. We have Calcaterra. He's now showing to be a pretty good backup tight end. And I honestly truly believe that if Calcaterra goes to any other team, he's a starter. Right. But the thing is that he can't do what Dallas Goedert does like very well, which is he leads block He lead blocks very well for Saquon Barkley, just like how he did for DeAndre Swift and Miles Sanders. You know, all those guys who were successful running backs. Like he's the lead, usually one of the lead blocks off the edge. He can really set the edge, you know, especially on bigger linebackers and things like that. But the thing is that, you know, we still should have gotten it done. He has all these weapons. He has Jahan Dotson. He's got Devontae Smith. He's got you know, a couple new guys. I mean, like I said, Britton Covey. You got Saquon Barkley. You know, and then Jalen Hurts himself. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I say that is he's a big factor in the run game. That is something they have to think about. You know, so yeah, no, even though he wasn't there, it still should have been a dub, and it should not have been as close as it was. But I mean, that's kind of on the defense there. I did not agree with some of the play calling in the first quarter. There were some things that I was like, I'm not feeling it here. One of our third down attempts that we didn't get, they drew up a quarterback draw. It was a 3rd and long, and drew up a quarterback draw that I was like, that wasn't a smart play at all. You know, so that there's some questionable play calling there as well. I'm not going to put it all on Jalen Hurts.
Well, you mentioned we talk about Jalen Hurts, talk about the defense, talk about the last play. Now, what are the vibes week 3? We know the defense pretty lackluster to start the year. You guys are playing a high-powered offense this week in the New Orleans Saints. 15 for 15 on their drives to start the year. Have scored a touchdown. Have not punted it. Not a touchdown, but just scored in general. 50 piece against the Carolina Panthers week 1. 40 piece against the Dallas Cowboys this past game. Alvin Kamara, huge part in that game. And we saw what Bijan Robinson was doing to the Philadelphia Eagles defense. You guys are traveling over there to New Orleans. How New Orleans fans, we know how they can get, especially for their Saints, when they're doing good is like this. So what are the vibes like, my boy?
There's definitely some, you know, a sense of we need to get this win. Is it a must win? I wouldn't say it's a must win, but it's kind of it's a big measuring stick. If we can bounce back, get a win in any way, even if we just scratch and claw and barely get a win is a win, especially over a high-powered offense like this. We can show, okay, there's nothing wrong with us. We just need to clean up some things. And the thing is, I think that everyone's wondering because right now the big excuse is, you know, rust, you know, due to the fact that we didn't play any starters during the preseason, which I also don't agree with. We should have played some starters during the preseason. We played some rotation players, but we didn't play our main starters. And so far, if you look at our offense from week 1 to week 2, we did slightly get better. Our defense, to me, got slightly worse. So it's really, I think the game's going to really depend on our defense. If our defense improves, we can get some penetration, we can stop the run. I really think we could pull out a win. I'm not worried about our offense at all. I'm not, even though AJ Brown is most likely not going to play next week. They did say that he could be out due to his hamstring injury, anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks, as well as Cooper Kupp. I really think we could still win this. I think it's going to be a very close game. It just really depends on our defense. If we can get some stops, if we can get some penetration, it's going to always start with the front four. If the front four can get some penetration, it's going to be a domino effect. Everyone else will be able to do their job accordingly, and everyone will be able to win their one-on-one battles, and we'll be able to hopefully pull out a win.
Dope, man. Dope. Well, hey, that's going to wrap up our first segment together. Just what do you want to say to the people? How was it for you doing this?
Little different. I'm used to more of an argumental conversation between the two of us, you know, but I mean, this was cool. This was really, really cool. I enjoyed it, and I can't wait for next week.
Dope. Well, there y'all have it with the Monk, Philadelphia Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly. You know what it is. Nacho Libre. But yeah, we're going to wrap this up. We'll catch y'all next week.
Peace.